Everybody, Tony Porter, Cards and Dice, Sunday morning, 1980. It's Cleveland at Oakland. And it's Dan Spillner versus Mike Norris. Mike Norris, of course, the ace of the athletic staff. And today we happen to roll in his C column, so he will be in his worst column. But even his worst column is pretty darn good. He did have about a 2.40 ERA, although the whip is 1.0, which is also outstanding. So we're going to see how he's going to do in his C column. So that's one of the curiosities that are always interesting in this game. And we're going to get started. We're going to roll. Haven't played this in a while, so I'm going to be a little rusty, a little slow moving at first, and then all of a sudden I'll get into the rhythm. Excuse me. So I'm going to use two double D6s. I know some people drives them nuts because they can't distinguish it. You know what? I got two. Actually, I'll use these two. All right. So let's do this. It's Mike Norris versus Miguel Delaney, Cleveland, Delaney, Orta, and Hargrove, Harrah, Hassey, and Gray, Brohammer, Manning, and Dubinsky. Then for the A's, it's going to be Henderson, Murphy, and Davis, Armas, Gross, and Page, Essien, Guerrero, and Cox. Play ball. It's a 15. And we're going to first start off the batter card. It's going to be an out. And that we're going to have to roll the D20 to tell us what kind of an out it is. And it's a fly ball to center field. It's an 8 or 18 is a fly ball to center field. All right, that's one down. Next up is George Orta. He bats from the left side. I have stats for all these guys. Where am I in the season? Let me check. I am July 16th.
Replay Radio is live from Oakland.
I have my stat keeper replay PC game here to my right. And let's see. Delaney was batting 332. Orta is batting 271. And that's a 25, which will be an out. Fly ball to left field. So despite Norris not having his best stuff, he's still successful. Now this is usually a pitcher home run roll. And on Hargrove, it's going to be a -1. Okay, and we're using the C column, which is also tough on Norris. He doesn't have his good stuff, so he throws Hargrove a meatball, and Hargrove drives one. But as I see, he misses it, really, because at a 19, his Norris only goes up to a 10, plus the -1 would be a 9, 1 to 9, but we rolled a 19, so that's going to be a fly out. There's a lot of question as to how to do this. I believe it's in the rules. I really don't care. I usually just look at the side of the batter, or actually you can look at the column of the pitcher. So then this maybe happens once a game. So then it's a fly ball to right. This would be a fly ball to left. This would be a fly ball to center field. So we're going to say that he's a lefty, so it's a fly ball to right. Otherwise, I'd make it to center field. 3 up, 3 down, 3 fly balls for Norris. So again, despite not having his best stuff, he's still holding up pretty good. All right, here come the Billy Martin Athletics. You can see their cards are pretty beat up. The nice thing about PDFs is I can print out all brand new cards, clean and crisp. All right, here's Dan Spillner. He's a right-hander, and Spillner, Delaney in our replay has a 2.50 ERA with a 1.0 whip. That's fascinating because that's exactly his whip in reality. And let's quickly input some data so we can get to Spillner and look at what Spillner has been doing this season. Dan Spillner he's been really struggling. He has a 6.31 ERA, a 4.8 record, and a 1.7 whip. And as you can see, his whip here was 1.5. So he's not very good in 1980. Here's a pitch to Ricky Henderson. That's a 34. And a 34 is a blank. So now Spillner is an A pitcher. I wrote it here. See that? Luckily I wrote it because I didn't remember I rolled this yesterday. So a 34 is going to be an out. What kind of an out? A 14. That's bounced out to second base. I thought it was order there. No, it's Brohammer. Jack Brohammer scoops it and sidearms it to first for out number 1. Here's Dwayne Murphy. And Dwayne Murphy's batting .276. In reality, Dwayne Murphy batted .274. That's a snake eyes, and that's going to be ball 4, so Murphy walks. So Oakland has its first base runner and the first base runner of the game, Tony Armas. No, it's going to be Mike Davis and then Armas. And then Gross. Okay. So it's Mike Davis up. He bats on the left side. Here's a pitch. And that's a 32. 32 is a blank, but we go to the A, and that's going to be a drive down the line, and that's going to be a fair ball. Kicks up some chalk dust. And we're going to see where our card. We're looking for our fast action cards to see what kind of a base advancement there is. Runner on first, if he's fast or slow, will hold. An average runner, can risk. So that's just to mix it up, and I like that. And he's going to hold because he is fast. All right, so it's going to be second and third here. Second and third. Double for Davis. Tony Armas steps to the plate. Armas is batting .262. In reality, Armas batted .279. He has been in a slump. He was batting higher than that. He was in the 290s, and he went down to 260s. But he does lead the team in home runs. He was the big home run hitter for the Athletics in 1980. So the infield, we're going to play the infield back and concede a run early in the game. And that's a 51 with a 3. This is probably an error, I'll tell you right now, because that 51 is an error number. Oh, but the 3 is a KD check, and the KD says strike 3, 2 away. Yeah, that KD check prevents the error. That when that's low enough, that could be a strikeout rather than an error check. And that's big for some pitchers, especially pitchers with high strikeouts. They get a lot of those. All right, so Wayne Gross now with 2 on and 2 out. Wayne Gross is batting .306. He's been hitting the ball lately, batted .281. Here's a pitch, and that's a 13, which will be an out. What kind of an out? It's bounced to the first baseman because he's a lefty. On a 5, it's either a bounce out to the third baseman, a righty, or a bounce out to the first baseman, a lefty. And that mixes up the outs pretty nicely in this game. So no runs on 1 hit. And we're going to move to the top of the second. Now I'm going to do a basically 3.5 inning learn to play here. I feel that I'm in that sort of mood of since I have not played this in a while, I'm kind of refamiliarizing myself with the game. So this is a good opportunity to relearn it together. All right, it's going to be Mike Norris versus Toby Harrah. For some reason, I always thought Toby Harrah was a well-rounded player. I felt that maybe his defense wasn't all that great, but I felt that he was decent enough, and he had some power, he had some speed, he was hard-nosed kind of guy. So I always like players like that. Bill Buckner, Toby Harrah. I always felt that was kind of who I would have been. That's a 16, and that's going to be an out, kind of an out. A 10 now is a little bit different. A 10 is a line out, and the 6 is going to be a line out to right field. So another fly out to right, but this time it's hit on the nose, and in right field is Tony Armas for out number 1. All right, Ron Hassey. Eventually he goes to the Yankees by 85. He's playing with the Yankees. Here's the pitch. It's a 15. That's a fly ball, and the 19 tells us it's a fly ball to right field. So that's 5 balls to the outfield so far to start this game. And that's just the dice. Here is Gary Gray. GG. Gary Gray. 2 out, top of the second. No score. That's a 13. Again, that's an out. The 2 is a fly out to center field. 6 balls in the air in a row. 3 up, 3 down. Norris has retired 6 in a row despite having his, low end stuff, if you will. All right. So we go to the bottom of the second here in our Learn to Play Fall Classic Baseball. Probably one of the better designed games that are out there that I think fly under the radar for various reasons. I feel that most of the reasons are pretty unfair. So it's going to be Mitchell Page facing the DH, left-handed hitter facing Dan Spillner. See what happens here. And that's a 32, and that will be a drive, and that's in the gap, will roll to the wall. Mitchell Page with good speed, digging for second, makes a big turn. He goes back to second with a leadoff double, just like that. A leadoff double for Mitchell Page and the Oakland A's. They got a runner at second now. And at second and third in the first inning and failed to bring them home. Here's Jim Essien, bats from the right side. What is Essien batting? Essien is batting 286. In reality, Essien batted 232. So he's hitting well above what he actually hit. But just keep in mind that this is a player who hasn't played very much and still has some playing time in the second half of the season. And usually these things, work themselves out. And that's going to be a 15, and he'll make an out here. A 2, that's a fly out to center field. Now I'm going to take a quick look and see with a runner on second. Runner on third on a 2, and let's see. Runner's hold, runner on third can score. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so everybody holds on this. Okay, so it's a 15. It's a fly out to center field. 1 down. There will be no tagging on this. It's not deep enough. And Mario Guerrero. What is Guerrero batting? He's batting 227. In reality, he batted 239. And that's a 44. That's usually a base hit. And this may bring Page home, who's fast. Let's take a quick peek at a card and see what it says. It says runner on second holds, but if there's 2 outs, he scores if he's fast. So he will have to hold at third base. So it's first and third now with 1 out. So Guerrero singles, lines went up the middle, but it was hit that hard that Mitchell Page had to freeze to get to see the line drive get through the infield, and then he was stopped by the third base coach. He has excellent speed. Could have probably made it, but they're playing it conservatively here in the bottom of the second inning. They got first and third with what was to me a part-time player. He hasn't started playing until now in July. Jeff Cox. Now he's playing every day. I guess due to injuries that season, I use actual lineup so I can identify. Hey, Piccolo was playing second base every day. Guerrero was at shortstop. But I guess Piccolo either was benched, was sent down to the minors, or got injured because now Jeff Cox is in there every day. So there's first and third. Infield is halfway looking for that double play. A lot of times I'll call that back, but I don't mean back. I mean whenever there's a runner on first and less than 2 outs, back means not in for the runner on third, but rather looking for the double play. All right. Jeff Cox, Dan Spillner, first and third, 1 out, no score, bottom of the second. Let's do it. It's a 43, and that's going to be a blank, and the 43 out. Spillner will be an out. A 20 is going to be a line out to 3, which is the first baseman. And this could be, if I roll, let's see, roll a D20. All right, so Henderson bounced out right back to the pitcher, and that's the second consecutive time that the A's leave a couple of runners on and fail to bring them across. And we go to the top of the third inning. Mike Norris is going for the A's today. He is on his C stuff. Excuse me. Mike Norris on his C stuff. Let me just slide this over. Got a lot of stuff going on here. All right. And it will be Jack Brohammer, the second baseman, Rick Manning, the center fielder, and then Jerry Dubinsky, the shortstop. We're rolling 2d6 plus the d20. That's all you need in this game. And you get pretty good detail and depth, and everything is very extremely fluid. That's a 22, and a 22 is usually read off up here, but that's going to be an out. Jack Brohammer doesn't hit very well, and that 10 will be a line out to the left fielder. So this is 7 outs in a row to left field. See how many we can get. Rick Manning now, he steps to the plate. He bats from the left side. Here's a pitch. With Norris, I got to look at the C end, the C side of it. Just keep that in mind. And that's a 45. 45 is a blank. And so we're going to look at 45 here, and that's going to be an out, and that's a fly ball left field this time. Drifting over is Murphy, and he makes the grab. So that's 8 flyouts in a row. Jerry Dubinsky now with 2 out, nobody on. And there's no runs on 2 hits up here. Here's a pitch from Mike Norris. A 41 is usually a base on balls, and it will be a walk. So that's the first base runner today. It's Dubinsky. He's on at first. That's going to bring up Miguel Delaney. Delaney batted 341. In our replays, batting 333. And that's the replay system that keeps tabs on that situation. I upgraded my computer. It's working so much faster. It was actually a new computer. I bought it in March, but it was an all-in-one where you just get a screen and the computer is within that screen. And it was just terrible. It was a terrible. It had a very, very poor and low memory, low capacity hard drive, and they had to pull it out and replace it with a higher end. So it cost me really what I thought was costing me really inexpensive. Ended up costing me, a couple $100 more. All right. So it's Mike Norris against Miguel Delaney. 1 on, 2 out, top of the third. And that's going to be a 13, which will be a 1 to 6 is a single. This is, you got your Stratomatic splits, and that's a 13, so that will be a bounce. Well, I rolled that already. And I'm going to roll again for the out, because since I used that for the 1 to 6 split, a 10 will be a line out to the center fielder. And that retires the side. No runs, no hits, a walk, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Learn to play Fall Classic Baseball. This is a game by Greg Sovan, who is pretty much a tabletop baseball genius. He kind of comes up with all these pretty good games, really, and has extensive stats for them and so on and so forth. So if you're not supporting him in some way, shape, or form, you're missing out on somebody who's really contributing to the hobby on a really fundamental level by creating multiple games for us to kind of enjoy on our tabletops. And here's Dan Spillner facing Dwayne Murphy. Murphy, he walked in the 1st inning and made it to 3rd, but was stranded there when Armas and Gross made outs to end the inning. All right, so Dan Spillner, he's holding his own, although he has gotten into trouble in both innings. He's had 2 men on in each inning. He's allowed 3 hits so far and a walk. So Dan Spillner is basically walking on eggshells so far in this game. See if he can settle down here and get an easier inning. Dwayne Murphy, let's see what he does. So Spillner winds and deals, and that is going to be a 42. A 42 is a blank, and a 42 is a 1 to 8 base on balls, and we rolled a 3, so that's a walk. So you even have splits in this game as well. So it's got a little bit of strat. It's got a little bit of APA because it goes 66. The doubles are usually the hits. So it's got a little bit of everything. So if you like strat, well, it's got that. It's also got the 2 cards. If you like APA, it has the standard, 2 die reading, 1 first and then the other, and then it's got the 60s. The doubles are usually the hits. All right, so Murphy's on at first, and here's Mike Davis. Davis hit a double, and this is a 23. A 23 will be a swing and a miss, strikes out. Spillner gets him with the curve, and Davis, perplexed, heads back to the dugout. Here's Tony Armas. He is the power guy for the Athletics. He hit 35 home runs. In our replay here, He's got 19 home runs in our replay. 8 doubles, 4 triples, 19 home runs, 57 RBIs, 86 games, 300 at-bats. So he's headed to his 30-ish, 30. Yep. So he's on target. His slugging percentage is .482 in our replay. In reality, it was .500. His strikeouts, he's basically 61 now. He had 120, 28. So he's pretty close to all his stats, pretty much. He's from Puerto Piritu, Venezuela. All right, let's see what Tony Armas can do here. And that's going to be a 24, which is a 1-2 hit by pitch, but we rolled a 13. So since we use that D20, I'm going to roll it for the out, and that's a 15, which is going to be, he's a righty, so it's going to be a ground ball to short. Now, this could be a double play. It says, in this case, it's going to be a fielder's choice unless the second baseman has a strong arm. And the second baseman, Jack Brohammer, let's see what kind of arm he has. He has a weak arm, so there's no double play. It's a 6-4 fielder's choice. And Armas is on at first. All right, next is Wayne Gross with 2 out and 1 on. That's Armas at first. Dan Spillner. Now here's how you know how many batters they can face. 28 there for Spillner, and Norris has a lot more. He had a lot of complete games. All right, so Spillner checks in with Hassey for the sign. Sets and deals. And that is going to be a 33. I don't see it, but it's stuck under the tower. It's a 33, and that's going to be a 5. 1 to 13 is a single. That's line. Base hit to right. And Armas is, let's see what Armas is. Armas is he's a fast runner, so, and that has to do probably with his runs scored. So first and third, fast advances to third. So he will advance to third. So again, the Athletics have a man in scoring position, 2 men on with 2 outs, and it's going to be in the hands of Mitchell Page. Mitchell Page bats from the left side. Mitchell Page in our replay is batting .243. In reality, he batted .244. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? And let's look. He's got 12 homers in our replay. Probably a little bit higher than he should. But, you know, those things are controlled by the dice and so many factors. He had 17 in 300 at-bats. Oh, he has already, okay, he's actually right on target because he has already 220 at-bats. So he's only got another 100 at-bats to go. So that's interesting because then he hit about 5 home runs, close to 4 or 5 home runs every 100 at-bats to have 17. Now, proportionally, had he played the whole season, maybe 600 at-bats, he would have double the 17, which would be about 34 home runs. So he had a good power year in 1980. So he's coming to bat here with first and third and 2 out. See what happens. Dan Spillner is up against the ropes, and let's see if he can get out of trouble. Here's a pitch. And, oh, that's going to be a problem. I can see that right away. That 55 is high, and that's going to be extra bases for Mitchell Page. 1 run comes in, and Mitchell Page drives one hop off the wall. And let's see, scores of W. Arm, the center fielder, Manning. Let's see so 1 run comes in. Let's see if Gross can score. Manning has an A arm, so they're going to hold up Gross at third. It's going to be a double for a 2-out, double for Page, and that's the first run of the game. So he got a hold of one and drove it in the gap, and it's going to be 1 hop off the wall, picked up by center fielder Manning. Around second is Gross, and he's going to be held up there. So it's second and third RBI for Mitchell Page, and he's 2 for 2 today. 2 doubles for Mitchell Page. So he's having quite a day for himself. And here is Jim Essien. Essien, like I said, is batting 286. So actually, he's about 281 now, and he batted 232. So he's doing better than he actually did, but he's a part-time player, and those guys sometimes just get lucky. Every time they come in, they get a hit, and they don't have many at-bats, so it's a little wacky. But as soon as he gets more at-bats, I'm sure he'll, get closer to what he actually performed. Don't expect any of these games to bring you exact stats, but you want them more in the vicinity, and you want the majority of your players to be in the vicinity. If you have a couple of outliers, hey, that's the nature of the beast. Don't fret, don't stress yourself, and just enjoy the game for what it is. And this is a very extremely fluid game. There's no rough or real dangerous curves or rough edges on this game. Extremely fluid, extremely well thought out. And of course, the more you play it, there's certain things that you'd say, well, if there's one thing I would adjust a little bit and simplify. You always find that in every game, but this is probably, definitely a top tier game. And if you're not at least trying this out, and having it, and supporting an amazing designer, Greg Sovan, I feel that he's not getting his due. So, Dan Spillner, and as you know, I play a lot of games, and I definitely don't work for anybody, and I'm pretty straightforward and honest, So here goes Jim Essien with 2 outs and 2 on, second and third. So Dan Spillner has given up a run here, and his Indians are down 1-0, and it could be more. So Jim Essien up at he's a right-handed hitter in the box, and he's ready for Dan Spillner's pitch, and that is a 42. A 42 is a blank, but we're looking at the A, and that's a 1-8 base on balls, and no, it's a 10. So that's going to be an out instead of a walk, and that'll be a fly ball right field. Coming over is the right fielder. Orta settles under it, squeezes it, and that retires the side. But the A's picked up at least a run. It could have been more on a couple of hits. The big hit was the 2-out RBI double by Mitchell Page, his second double of the day. And we move to the top of the 4th. So I feel you're getting a nice, representation of what this game entails here in a kind of a moderately paced replay segment. So here comes Mike Norris, who's, despite being in his C column, right? And I have to repeat myself, I have to remind myself of that. George Orta. So because Spillner's in his A column, and you think of Spillner as a C kind of player, whereas Mike Norris is an A kind of player, so there's a little bit of a clash in my brain. All right, so Orta, and that's how I do it. I just, before the inning, I just reply, if he's a lefty, I'll say, okay, lefty's pitching, and if he's in C column, I'll repeat. That helps my brain adjust. 32 is a blank, and a 32 is going to be a drive, all right, to right center field, and that is going to make, an 18 just makes it for a double. Orta into second base with a leadoff double here against Norris. So Norris now is showing his C level pitching, because that double would not happen in the other levels. But he does give up the levels when he's a C pitcher. But so here's Mike Hargrove now with a runner at second base and no outs. 1-0 Athletics in the top of the 4th. We're playing 1980, my 1980 replay. And I'll tell you that my Athletics are 48-41. Not doing too poorly. That's going to be a 33, and that's going to be ripped to right field for a base hit. And let's see if this will score the runner. Orta, I believe, is fast, but we'll double check that. Fast advances, Essien A hold. And he is A, so he will hold up at third base. So it's going to be first and third now. So Hargrove rips one to right. Hit it that hard that Orta had to hold up at third. Nobody out. And again, the A's are willing to concede the tying run with the infield halfway, trying to avoid that big inning. And here's Toby Harrah. Here's a pitch from Mike Norris, which is a snake, guys, and that's ball 4. So, Toby Harrah did have a lot of walks. He had 98 walks. So he was a guy who had a good eye, and that's another thing I really liked about him. So that's a base on balls, and that's going to load up the bases for the Indians. So they're threatening here. And Mike Norris has his hands full to try to get out of this one. So the whole, I think, approach, we're going to go out and talk to him on the mound. So I'll send out the pitching coach, because really the approach here is to minimize the damage. It's okay if they score a run or two, but what you don't want them to do is score 5 or 6 runs. So you want to minimize the damage here. You're not going to freak out. You're going to play the infield halfway and just go for the easy out. If we can get a double play, perfect. We'll give up that run. That's what we're looking to do here. It's going to be Ron Hassey. Ron Hassey, a 318 hitter, so he's going to have to proceed with caution. Here's a pitch. Mike Norris with the bases loaded, nobody out, against Ron Hassey, a lefty hitter. And that is a 13. This may be the double play that we needed. That 20 is going to be, no, it's going to be a line out, unfortunately. But we could still, it's a line out to the first baseman, caught by Davis. And can he get to the bag ahead of Harrah is the question. We're going to roll that D20 for a 20 or a 2. Oh, and it's not neither. So it's going to be just a line out, and Toby Harrah gets back ahead of the diving first base try there to try to get to the bag before Harrah. So it's 1 out. Hassey lines out, and here's Gary Gray. Norris sets and deals, and that's a 12, which will be another opportunity for a double play, and this will be right back to Norris. Turns around, fires to the shortstop, Guerrero. The ball back to Davis at first. Double play, and the A's get out of the inning. Holy smokes. And that 12 basically is a out with an X, and that means if it's on the ground, it's an automatic double play. So that works very nicely for the Athletics, and the Indians really failed to take advantage of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. So that was exciting for sure. If you're an A's fan, you're at the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, and the crowd goes wild for sure. So that was it for my Learn to Play. It's a 3.5 inning Learn to Play. Check out part 2. I'm sure I'll do part 2 because it's a heck of a game so far. And it really shows you all the different, dimensions of Fall Classic Baseball. And they're easy to read cards. Relatively easy to read chart. There's only really one chart that you look at most of the time. Now, I use facts. I believe that they're a must because I use them, the way I use them. I look for certain things. I don't use many cards. So far, I've played close to half the game. I've only used 5 cards. So that's basically how I use the facts. I use the quick outs chart and the facts combined. It's my kind of little system. So this is Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV. Thanks for watching our tutorial on Fall Classic Baseball. Check it out. $20 for PDFs. If you don't do PDFs, it's about $60 for a season. Older seasons are a little bit less. Newer seasons a little bit more because of the number of cards. But he's a smart designer, and he really loves baseball. He knows baseball inside out. So you're not going to be disappointed. And we are in the bottom of the 4th inning in a 1-0 Oakland lead. Watch out for part 2. All right, we are in the bottom of the 4th. This is part 2 of our Fall Classic Baseball Learn to Play tutorial. It's going to be Mario Guerrero, Jeff Cox, and then it will go back up to the top of the order with Ricky Anderson. We're playing Fall Classic Baseball, probably one of the slickest designed tabletop baseball games out there. It has a excellent depth in terms of detail, and really in a very, very smooth and elegant fashion. So let's roll for Guerrero. We're reading the black die and the white die, and we will then see what happens here. The score is 1-0. I'm replaying the 1980 Oakland Athletics, and I'm reading off some of the stats. We're about halfway through the season, approaching the halfway point of the season. So, I guess the middle of July, April, May, June. We're about halfway through the season. So now you can start seeing how accurate this game is, and it's one of the fun elements of replaying a season, sharing it and showing, hey, listen, this is pretty darn close, you know. And so let's roll for Mario Guerrero, who singled in the second inning. And I have my stats here. My stat keeper is Replay PC Baseball, which is really I cannot live without. I just the reason I haven't played this in a while is because I upgraded my computer, the computer where I have all my stats, and I didn't want to play a lot of games on score sheets and then have to input all the data. I played about 3 or 4, and I said that was my limit because I didn't want to have to sit there and just input games and games and games. So I kind of put the game to the side. It took them about 2 weeks to upgrade my computer because they had some issues with Windows, and then I had to take it back for another 3 days because they didn't reinstall all my game data. All my whole replay data was not reinstalled when they had promised me, hey, no, we can clone your original hard drive and we won't have any problem. I got home, I turned it on, and there was no data. I called them up and I, blew my stack. I said, hey, what's going on here? I've been working on this for months. So anyway, I took it. They said, we'll help you out. I took it back. 3 days later, I got all my data back. Thank God. I want to finish this because I don't want to lose this data. I know I can back it up and so on and so forth. I don't really know how to do that all that well. I could make a printout of the stats so far up to the middle of July. So I have to look into doing that. But anyway, here's Mario Guerrero. And that's a 25. And on Guerrero's card, that's going to be an out. Spillner is an A and Norris is a C. Probably the opposite of what they were in reality. But it's going to be an out. What kind of an out? We don't have to look at Spillner. We just look at the 20-sided die. It's a 19. You can't see that. There, now you can see it. 19. And that's going to be a flat of right. The 9 says it's a flat of right. All right, here's Jeff Cox. Now, Cox is a guy who had about 200 at-bats. He played about 1/3 of the season. Hasn't played until this month and all of a sudden appeared. I guess my everyday second baseman to this point was Piccolo, and he's not around anymore. So here's a pitch from Spillner. It's a 65. Now that's going to be an out. For guys with home runs, that's usually a pitcher home run. So you look at the pitcher card. That 65 will be an out of some kind. It's a 16. So the 16 is, I haven't played this in a while, so it's a grounder to short. Picked up by the shortstop, Dubinsky, and he throws out Cox, who's hustling down the line, something that Billy Martin really likes about him. And here's Ricky Henderson. And that is a 64, which will be an out. And the 14 is a bouncer to second base. And scooping it up is Brohammer. Sidearms it to first quickly and just gets the speedy Henderson by half a step. We go to the top of the 5th inning. 1-0 Athletics. In the first part of the video, I went over a lot of the stats, and that's a big part of our replays, and the stats are very, very close to what they were in actuality. Now, despite Norris being a C pitcher, and I repeat that to myself just to jolt my memory, he's pitched 3 really excellent innings where he only allowed 1 base runner, but struggled in the top of the 4th inning with a double, a single, then a walk, but then was able to get out of it with a line drive and a 1-6-3 double play. See what happens here. Jack Brohammer up. He lined out to left in his first at bat. That's an 11, which will be an out. What kind of an out? A comebacker. And that's an original term. Some people recognize that term. Some people don't. So here is original, not to me, but it's an old school term, I guess. I remember that term from watching TV in the 70s, the baseball games. Here's Rick Manning, 46. Okay, this is a ballpark card result. So this game does have a ballpark card. Now, Rick Manning didn't hit a lot of home runs, so he won't get the opportunity to hit a home run here. Here's your card, Oakland, Alameda County. It's very pro pitching, right? It slants to the pitching side. It's got a big foul territory. And this 12 is going to be against a lefty, is 5-16. The 12, he's a lefty batter, so it's going to be a foul out to the third baseman. Gross is right there, and he makes it out. He makes the catch. So that's 5. F5. And you could put an OFO, foul out 5. There you go. All right, here's Jerry Dubinsky with 2 out, nobody on. That's a 63. That's a blank. So then we go to the pitcher card, and that 1 to 16 is a strikeout, and it is. So Norris gets him with a curveball, and that retires the side. 3 up and 3 down for Norris. And we do this little, I started doing this little arrow now, just to simplify things for myself. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Learn to play Fall Classic Baseball. All right, Spillner's up. Well, Spillner's on the mound. Dwayne Murphy's up is what I meant to say. And here's a pitch. That's a 32, which will be a blank. And that's a drive ripped into right center field, and that's going to be a double for Murphy, a leadoff double for Murphy. And Spillner does give up a ton of doubles. I'm seeing that. And in that A column, which, you know, he only gets to that A column X amount of time, 40% of the time or something like that, 30% of the time. Mike Davis with a runner at second base. Here's a pitch from Spillner, and that's going to be a 16. A 16 is an out. What kind of an out? It's bounced out the lefty. That 15 is going to be either to the shortstop or the first baseman. A lefty will hit it to the first baseman. That will allow Murphy to make it to third base. We're going to bring the infield in here. It's already the bottom of the 5th. So infield is in for Tony Armas. 1 out. Runner on third. Murphy's in third. He's got good speed. The pitch from Spillner. And that's a 22, which would be line base hit, and that will score the run. Tony Armas comes up huge here. Second run of the game, 2-0. Athletics on the Tony Armas single. And Murphy is fast. I just scored him on this. I shouldn't have really scored him. I really should have looked at the base hit to left field. But it is a score. F and A will score on that. So I got ahead of myself there. All right, so Armas is on first. 1 out. 2-0 A's. Let's write that on top here. And here's a pitch to Wayne Gross. He bats from the left side. Gross today is 1 for 2. And it's a 43. A 43 is a blank, and a 43 will be an out. A 6. A 6 is a ground out to short double play. So it's a ground out to short double play. Unless the shortstop has a weak arm. Let's see what Dubinsky kind of arm Dubinsky has. Dubinsky has an average arm, so he will turn it, and that'll end the inning. 6, 4, 3, they turn it. That ends the inning. So 1 run on 2 hits. And the Athletics lead at 2-0. Norris and the Athletics lead at 2-0. All right, Mike Norris will be facing the top of the order. Miguel Delaney, who batted in reality, batted 341 in our replays, batting 330. Here's a pitch. 64, and that will be a blank, so we will go on Norris, and that will be an out, kind of an out. That's a bouncer to the second baseman, Cox, who throws out Delaney by half a step. Here is George Orta, who's 1 for 2 with a double. That's going to be a 66. That's a 1 is a home run. We roll the 14. That's going to be a drive over the center fielder's head, and that's going to hit off the base of the wall. Played there by Murphy. Digging for second is Orta. Standing up into second base goes Orta. And that's a 1-out double for George Orta. Mike Hargrove is next. He's known as, his nickname was what? The human rain delay, because of all the back and forth that he did with his accoutrements as he stepped in the box, or before he stepped in the box. You know, he would fiddle with everything and had a lot of little pre-batting rituals that he would go through. All right, so runner on second, 1 out, and this is an opportunity for the Indians to get on the board here against Norris. And that's a 24, and that's going to be a 1-8 hit by pitch, and it's a 3, and and Hargrove is plunked. Remember him getting hit a lot, so he was standing near or on top of the plate. So that puts runners on first and second with 1 out for Norris and the A's. Toby Harrah is up to bat for the Indians, and the A's defense has their hands full here with a couple of runners on. The tying run is on at first base. And let's just take a quick peek at Hargrove's speed. He's an average speed guy. All right, so here goes. Toby Harrah has some power. 1-4. Well, his home run is at 65. Really, that's all he has. He hit 11 home runs, but I don't see any other home runs anywhere. So we'd have to roll a 65 and then roll on the pitcher card. Here's a pitch. That's a 52, and that's going to be an error check. We're going to check the KD with that, and we're going to roll it again, and it's going to be a 10. Let's see what that means. A 52 says error on the pitcher, a 10. The pitcher's error rating is a 10, so that will be booted, a 1-base error, and everybody moves up. So it's going to E1 there on Norris. And it's so nice not to have to go to any other charts or anything, just to have it all there right in front of you. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. Here comes Ron Hassey. The A's are up 2-0. The Cleveland Indians have the bases loaded in our Learn to Play Fall Classic Baseball. We're playing off of Mike Norris's C. So every pitcher is rated 3 times for 3 different levels of play. His average level, his really A stuff level, and his C stuff level. Today, Norris happened to roll on his C stuff level. But he's still a hell of a pitcher because he had a great season. So it's not like, well, if you roll C now, he's going to get, he's going to get clobbered, he's going to get hammered. Not necessarily. He could still have a decent outing. Or he could be an A pitcher and just run into some bad luck and some balls drop in and so on. You know baseball, right? Here's Hassey. Infield is halfway. We're looking for that double play. That's going to be a 33, which will be banged up the middle for a base hit. And let's see what's going to happen here. Scores if A or W or A arm in left field. I believe my left fielder's arm is S. Yep, Rick Anderson has a strong arm, so it's going to be 1 run will score for sure, and the bases will be loaded again. So an RBI single for Hassey. He drives in number 2, and I do it that way there. So he drives in number 2 with a single. And we got the bases loaded. We got Hassey at first, Harrah at second, and Hargrove at third base. 2-1 the score here in Oakland Alameda County Coliseum in our Learn to Play for Fall Classic Baseball. I'm your host, Tony Porter, and this is your channel, Cards and Dice TV. And here is Gary Gray. Here's the pitch again. Wanting to prevent that big inning. So we're going to allow the tying run to come in the 6th inning. Actually, we're going to play the infield. We're going to play the corners in, and we're going to play the middle back. See what happens. All right, so 43. That's a blank, and a 43 on Norris will be an out. A 19 is a fly out to right with the bases loaded. So a 19, a fly out to right with the bases loaded. Everybody will hold, or I can go to the risk chart. And the risk chart, let's see who's at third base. Hargrove, who is average. 1-3, he would be out. 4-6, he would be safe. Do I try to tag up with this fly to right? And it's 50% chance unless I go and I use the right fielder's risk. Right, and let's quickly look at the risk chart here. Okay, run with risk. Okay, so you do use the right fielder's arm rating, so it would be 1 to 5. He's out. Wait, Armas is an A. No, Armas is an A, so it would be 1-3. Like I said, 1-3 is out. 4-6 is safe. And you know what? That's 50%. That's 500. The next batter does not bat 500. So we are going to try to tag up on this. We may roll into a double play? We don't know. Let's see what happens. All right, so let me get the old school die, a little translucent red die. Here goes, 1-3. He's out the throw, so it's a fly out to right field with the bases loaded. And Hargrove is going to tag up. They're going to challenge Tony Armas' arm. And here's the play at the plate. And he is out at the plate. Double play. So it's a 9-2 DP. Tony Armas comes up big. And they throw out Hargrove. Trying to score on that fly out to right. So it's 1 run on 2 hits. And the score now is 2-1. So there you go. You got a lot of excitement in this game. And but it's very easy to figure out, and I focus more on strategy than I actually have to worry about, all these rules, hurdles, that I got to go through, and I got to, how does this game do that again? This game it's very fluid, very straightforward, but you get everything you could possibly want. So there you go, Tony Armas' arm really making the difference in that situation there. Because had it been a weak arm, then it would have been, he would have, well, actually I rolled a 1, he would have been out regardless, but 2 on the 3 would have been safe on a weak arm. All right, so Dan Spillner's still in there. Dan Spillner's got 18 plus 6, so that's 24. And he's still good. He can go 28, and I know Davis can go a lot more than that. Here's a pitch from Spillner to Mitchell Page. That's a 42, and that's going to be a blank. Spillner's an A, and that's going to be a 1-8 walk. It's an 11. We're going to re-roll that for the out, and the out it's going to be a 3 is on a right, and on a lefty is a bouncer to the first baseman. And Hargrove gloves it, steps on the bag ahead of the speedy Mitchell Page, who was 2 for 2. And here comes 0 for 2, Jim Essien. Here's a pitch from Spillner. 25, and that's going to be against a lefty, it's a single. Against a righty, it will be an out. It's a fly ball. Left field, running catch by the left fielder, Miguel Delaney. 2 outs. And here is Mario Guerrero. Mario's 1 for 2 today. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. 2-1, Athletics. That's a 34. 34 is a blank, and a 34 is an out. And he's a righty, so this time it's going to be bounced to the third baseman. And Harrah charges, throws on the run, and gets Guerrero by half a step. 3 up, 3 down for Spillner here in the bottom of the 6th. And we go to the top of the 7th. Now, some of these games can take me all day long because I stop, I do other things in between. I usually play 3.5 innings. And then I'll take a break, and I'll break the game into like 3 parts. So Mike Norris is on the mound for the A's, and here in the top of the 7th inning, we're doing a Learn to Play Fall Classic Baseball with plenty of analysis, if you will. So you get an idea of where the game is coming from or how I interpret the game. So let's see. Jack Brohammer, he's 0 for 2 today. Third time he's leading off the inning. Pretty interesting. He's got 3. This is his 3rd arrow. All right, so let's do it. Here's Mike Norris. And it's a 25. And a 25 will be against a righty. Is going to be a hard hit ground ball and through the right side for a base hit for Jack Brohammer. He's on at first, tying run, and he's slow. So we could bring in a pinch runner. Let me look at the roster to see who they have. So let's see, bottom of the 4th. I got to input this data real quick. 9, 6, and 4. All right, let's see who we have to pinch run now. And then play second base. So Alan Bannister can play second base, and his speed is decent. We got Rosello, who's also, let me check and see who I can bring in. Rosello, or I got both of them available. Yeah, so Bannister's slow, so I'm going to bring in Rosello. I don't have anybody else who can really play second base. So Rosello's an A, so he will replace Brohammer. He will be a pinch runner, and then he will play second base. And then let's just make a little note there, a little star, I guess. So, haven't figured out how to input the pinch runner yet. If he was a pinch hitter, I would know what to do. But I haven't figured out a good little way. I have to keep on studying other people's scorecards to learn. All right, so runner on first. We got a pinch runner. It's going to be Dave Rosello, and it's going to be Rick Manning. Now, I'm not a big bunter. I may hit and run here, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit and run. Now, my cards were damaged a little. My cat. My cards were right next to her bowl of water, so the base stealing card got a little bit damaged there. A little warped. It's okay. Just put it in a book. All right, so this is the hit and run. Hit and run is super easy to follow. So we're going to roll 2, and it's a 14. Actually, you add them. It's a 5. Ground out to first. Runner will advance. Exactly what I wanted to happen. So, well, I would have liked a home run, right, or a triple, but this is good enough. This is why the hit and run. The purpose of hit and run is to stay out of the double play. So that kept me out of the double play. And now we're going to probably see a pinch hitter here. It's going to be let's see who's going to pinch hit in this situation. Top of the 7th. It's probably the only change I'm going to really make in this game. I don't know if I have any lefties on the bench. Let me see. Do I have any lefties on the? No, I do not. So I'm going to bring up Alan Bannister, and then he'll stay in, so I don't have to use too many players, because you never know how long this game will go. So I'm going to bring up Bannister, and Bannister can hit, just not a very good fielder, so he's going to be a pinch hitter, and this is how I do my pinch hitter. I do this squiggly line, and then he's going to stay into play shortstop. Not a very good shortstop either. Dubinsky, who is really 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk today, will get replaced. So here we have a pinch hitter, Alan Bannister, against Mike Norris with the tying run at second base. 1 out, top of the 7th, 2-1. The Athletics. This is my 1980 Athletics replay. The Athletics are doing pretty well. They're about 7 games above 500. Better than they were in actuality, and that just attests to my particular skill level. Just not, I don't want to be immodest, but hey, I'm going to have to write a baseball managing book. All right, let's do it. And that's a 43. A 43 is a blank. And C is going to be an out. And a 5 will be, he's a righty, so that would be bounced to third. And that's almost guaranteed hell there. Yeah, runner holes. So it's 5-3. And the third baseman, Gross, looks at Rosello back to second base. And here comes the top of the order. All right, Miguel Delaney, switch hitter, bats from the left side against Norris. 2 outs. The tying run at second base in Dave Rosello. I believe his name is Dave. And here goes. Here's Mike Norris checks in with Jim Essien for the side. Sets and deal. That's a 23. 23 will be a fly ball in the gap. And will Murphy get there? Yes, he does. He runs it down. And that retires this side. So he robbed Delaney of a double there at least. And with Delaney's speed, it could have been more. And great play by Murphy. All right, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and I'm going to stop here for a short break, and I will be back with the last 3 innings of the ball game. This is the 7th inning stretch. I will go grab myself a brewski in the bottom of the 7th inning in a 2-1 game. We got a couple of changes at shortstop for the White Sox. Is Bannister at second base is going to be Rosello, and it's going to be Jeff Cox, Ricky Henderson, and Dwayne Murphy against Dan Spillner. Dan Spillner has already, he's going to go 27, and then we're going to wait for him to give up a hit. Here he'll go 28, which is his total, and usually I do that circle there to tell me. And he can go 28 here, and I'll put that in a circle as well. And I can even use a blue marker to denote, hey, listen, this guy has completed his batter's face, but he will stay and continue until he gives up a hit. After this batter, once he gives up a hit, But that's his last official batter, his 28th batter of the game. And we'll be back. Tony Porter, Cards and Dice, 2-1 the score. Learn to play Fall Classic Baseball. right, so we just got through the top of the eighth, or Norris just got through the top of the eighth, and he was up against the ropes there with the bases loaded. Only one run came in. The score is 3-2 Oakland here in the bottom of the eighth. And Sid Manji, and let's grab him. Let's take a look at what he's got on his card. He can go 9 batters. This is 1980. Just keep that in mind. He will be facing Wayne Gross, lefty, Mitchell Page, the DH lefty, and then Essien, a righty. Now we could bring in pinch hitters here. I'm not a big pinch hitter guy, but this is a close game, and I have broken it up into multiple pieces, so it's easier for me to handle. And we're going to look to Mike Heath to come in and pinch hit, and he is available. So for Gross, and then Heath will stay into, no, you know what? We're going to save Heath for Page. I need a third, somebody who can play third, and that's going to be Jeff Newman. Jeff Newman can play third base. That's right. Hello, Newman. And let's see. You got all the players with this game. There he is. He's the last player in the pile. What else is new? All right, so Newman is going to come in. Then he's going to stay in, and he can play third base. So let's write Newman in. Newman, pinch hitter, third base. Against Sid Manji, here's a pitch. That's a 21, which will be a swing and a miss. Strikes him out. Manji with the slider. Next up is Page. We're going to get another pinch hitter. It's going to be Mike Heath, and Mike Heath will stand to be the DH. Pinch hitter DH. There you go. All right, here's a pitch from Manji. And that is a 16, which will be an out. A 12 is a pop-up to 6, which is the shortstop. That's 2 down. Right there is the shortstop, Bannister. And here comes Essien. Jim Essien, who's 0 for 3 today, and Essien's batting .278. He's one of the guys that's actually still doing a little bit better than he should. More so than anyone else, I think, on this team. Here's a pitch. He's a .232 actual, but batting .278 in the replay. But remember, he's a part-time guy, who seldom plays. And Manji's a B, and that's a 42, and that will be a base on balls. So that's a walk to Essien. And here's Mario Guerrero. All right, here's a pitch from 36, and that's a blank. And a 36B will be a fly out to center, and that retires aside. So, no runs, no hits, 1 left, a walk, and we go to the top of the 9th, last licks. Norris will try to complete this game. We'll go for a complete game attempt here. See if I can get it. Not always easy to do. It will be Bannister leading it off here in the top of the 9th inning. It's 3-2. And I've looked at box scores, and Billy Martin would let his pitchers go deep into the game. And give up 6 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs. Didn't matter. He did do that. So far he's only allowed 2 runs. He's doing well, but he is on his C stuff, which is the C column. It's a great thing about this game. It gives you that added bonus of every pitcher being, rated 3 times. Here's Alan Bannister. He pinch hit in the 7th inning and grounded out. So here's a pitch from Norris, and that is a 23, which will be a ground ball to second base, scooped up by Cox and throws him out. 1 away. Next up is Miguel Delaney. Let's see if we can find him in the pile. Probably got pushed around in there somewhere. There he is. All right, so it's Norris versus Delaney. Delaney in the replay with is batting 330, and he batted actually 340, I think. So it's pretty. And this is not my stat. This is not the Fall Classic stat keeper. That's the replay baseball stat keeper. So that's pretty good as well. So, you know, it's basic math, guys. It's percentages, you know. So how much can you screw it up, you know? And if you screw it up, man, guys are going to find out, and you're not going to have a good reputation. So anyway, but the designer of this game is particularly, he's definitely an established mathematician. All right, so Miguel Delaney, he's a switch hitter batting from the left side against Mike Norris. Mike Norris has gone 36. This here is going to be the last batter he can officially face. And that is going to be a 41, which will be a base on balls. That's a walk. And Delaney, 41 is a blank, so that will be a walk. He doesn't get a chance to steal here, but he could hit and run with Orta, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to hit and run. And there he goes, and Orta swings, and that is going to be a base hit. And that will send the tying run to third base, first and third. And that is going to be it for Norris. So we're going to have to go. Hargrove is a lefty, so we're going to go to Lacey out of the bullpen. Bob Lacey. See what Bob Lacey can do here to hold on to this lead here, this victory, because if they can keep the Indians from scoring, they win this game. But I don't know that that's going to happen here, so we're going to bring in Bob Lacey. He is really the closer, the ace of the staff, and out of the bullpen. We only have really two main bullpen guys, and the other guys are like mop-up type guys. So we're going to roll for Lacey. He's a lefty, and he's going to be an A pitcher. So Lacey is in, and he will be an A, which is good. First and third, Mike Hargrove, the batter. So Norris is out, and it's going to be Hargrove. So it's, you know, it's not always easy to complete those games. So here goes. Here's a pitch. Infield is going to be brought in. We don't want to let that tying run score. And that's going to be a 42. And we may get lucky. 42 is a blank, and a 42 is an out. What kind of an out? It's right back to the pitcher. With runners on first and third, right back to the pitcher. And we have a 2. So anyway, that doesn't matter. But so I have to pull out the book for this situation. This is one that always stumps me a little bit. It stumps me a little bit, so I read that if you pull out the actual written chart, I'm using a one-page chart, first and third out on a 1. So the pitcher checks runner at third. Yeah, this is the one where he's going to go to, he's going to check the runner at third, and he's going to quickly fire it to first base. So nobody scores there, so I don't know why I did that. He's going to hold, he's going to go to second, and it's going to be a 1-3. So hit right back to Lacey, who looks the runner at third. And this over here was a run scored. It was a double. We never wrote that in. All right, so let's just fix this one. I put that little line there. It makes it look like a run scored. Not yet. Hold on. So that runner at third holds. Second and third now, 2 outs. And here comes Toby Harrah. So Toby Harrah, and the next batter is Ron Hassey, but Toby Harrah is a 267 hitter, and Hassey is a 318 hitter. But Hassey is better against righties, and actually Harrah is better against lefties. So you know what? We are going to. Ooh, this is a tough one. The go-ahead run is already at second base, so we're going to walk Toby Harrah, intentionally walk him, and we're going to pitch to Ron Hassey, because if we roll 25-26, it's going to be an out, and Whereas if we roll that on Harrah, the 26 would be a single. Harrah still walks a ton, so they both basically have the same kind of ability to accept a walk with the bases loaded. A walk would drive in the go-ahead run, whereas if I walked Harrah, you know what? I'm going to probably take that back and just hope I don't roll that 26 and face Harrah, because they both walk. And if I walk Harrah, I'm still okay. If I walk him unintentionally, so let me go out to the mound and change that. Remember, you had to throw 4 pitches back then, so we're not going to do it. And I'm going to change our mind, and we're going to face Toby Harrah here with runners on second and third. Infield's going to be back, just looking for the one last out. Can I get this one last out for the A's to win this game? We'll see what happens. It's all going to come down to this roll here in the top of the ninth with 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. The Indians down by a run. And here's a pitch from Bob Lacey to Toby Harrah. And that's going to be a 63 as a blank, and a 63 against an A is a swing and a miss, strikes him out, ball game is over. And I can't write it in just yet, but I will put it in over here and just put a little arrow because I just whited that out. But the A's hold on to win it, barely. And they win it by a score of 3-2. And hits, here is one hit there, 4, 7, 9 hits for the Indians. See if there's any errors for the Indians that I can see quickly. No errors. And there's 1 error there for the A's on the pitcher, Norris. He committed an error. And the Athletics had 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 hits. So both teams had 9 hits. It was 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the A's against 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Indians. And the victory is going to go to Norris. The loss will go to Spillner. And no home runs for the Athletics. Let's see. Davis went 2 for 4. Anybody who stands out here? 2 doubles for Page. He went 2 for 3 and then was pinch hit for. Hit a couple of doubles today. And that's pretty much it for anybody who really... Murphy went 1 for 2 with a couple of walks and a double. And that's it. Final score is 3-2 Cleveland. This is Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV. Try out Fall Classic Baseball. Can't say any more about it.